We call the meeting to order.
Middletown, Mustangs, man.
We play Middletown, so we used to play Middletown.
We get the
How many
politicians
kids
to
we have
shut
is
up.
beat up? Just beat up.
We got one that has a broken wrist.
It's all about
He's in there
football,
playing.
local
He got cast
football.
back on.
Yeah.
He's like a couple weeks. So.
It's all about
Playing
local
good
football.
right now.
Yeah, it's all
Now
about.
it's time for the meeting.
We are, I'm treading water a little bit until we get a flag up so we can,
Treading water.
yeah.
Well, at least you're not under.
Old Glory.
That's later.
That'll be tomorrow
Take
night.
all the water we can get right now.
Tomorrow night.
Take it.
Yeah.
Okay, call the meeting to order. First order of business, for us all to stand, and Linda's gonna lead us in.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Play ball, yeah? Or say it again.
Too bad it's not Didn't have to play the ninth, did it?
Ready.
Great.
Linda's gonna read the math statement, purpose, mission statement.
The Middletown Area Town Hall was formed to operate as a true town hall, with everyone participating and voting. However, county officials required us to elect a board to conform with other county advisory committees. Our bylaws specify that the board makes decisions based on a vote of everyone present. The board encourages all members to give their opinions and vote on every matter before the assembly.
Thank you. Approval of minutes. I hear a motion to approve. Has anyone seen the minutes? They're at the back. They're at the back, okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve.
Do I hear a second? Been moved and seconded. Second to approve the minutes. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Abstentions? Thank you very much. I'm rushing through this tonight because we have some very important people here that we want to hear from. So, public input, item 3. Any person may speak for 3 minutes on any item not appearing on the agenda. I'll start on this side. If you have a comment or something to share with the meeting, please raise your hand and we'll recognize you. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. My name is Robert Battile. I live in various estates. When the Valley Fire thing happened, we were luckily spared that, but in the process I wrote a song and made a music video called The Valley Fire, and if you go to YouTube and look at that, I think you'll get pretty amazed. In the process, I realized that something that would be really great for this community would be have a bocce league. And for those of you who haven't played bocce, it's a great sport, low impact. Little old ladies can whip the tail off big truck drivers. It's finesse, it's social interaction. I'm getting really great response from the community. I think Hardisters is going to have 2 teams. On and on, Lions Club, the casino, etc. So now we're trying to find a place. The county's working with us a little bit. My initial thought was right in front of the senior center, which I think would be great for a couple courts. Not as much room to expand. The county is suggesting Trailside Park. And I think we have the wherewithal to build 4 courts there and really get a robust league going. And so give me your input. I have a sign-up sheet to get in the loop. I'm going to put a website up in the next few days and get some input. And I think we'll get this going. It's going to be a blast and can run and run and run. I did this in Santa Rosa 7 years ago. Now they have 50 teams. They play 5 nights a week and just are really having a blast. So with your permission, sir.
Before you sit down, does everyone know what bocce ball is?
No.
No,
Yes.
I didn't think so. You want to explain them, just a rule?
Yeah, let me tell you briefly. It's ancient game, very popular internationally, locally. Many of your neighboring cities have teams. St. Helena, 1 out of every 5 people is on a bocce team.
Wow.
They publish the standings in the local newspaper. And it's about bocce, but it's also about the potluck food and the, you know.
Tell us what it is.
Okay, so I'll get to that. Okay, sorry.
What is it?
You roll balls. Each team has 4 balls. And there's a little tiny ball called the Polino that's the target ball. So if somebody rolls that little ball, And then they follow with the bigger ball. It's about a 5 inches diameter ball. And then the other team is going to roll their 4 balls one at a time until they get one closer. Once they get one closer, it flips to the other side and they got the same challenge. They're going to keep rolling until they get one closer. So it goes back and forth. What we did is play 12-point games, 3 games at a night, and it's just a blast.
Okay, good, I wanted them to know.
Yeah, thank you
about
for
what it
asking.
was.
So we'll have middletownbocce.org up here in the next few days and let the newspapers know, etc. And I've got a little sign-up sheet if you do want to be in the loop. I'll pass that around. And
Thank you very much.
thank you. Thank
Okay,
you.
anybody else have public comment? Anyone on this side? Coming down from the back forward, anything back there? Yes, Marlene.
Marlene Elder. I wanted to remind everyone that Susan has a board in the front of the community center. So if you have any events that you want people to know about, or that if you want to see what events are happening, check with Susan and her board. You can look at the board to see what's happening, or you can give Susan the information to put on the board. Also, we are having a movie Saturday night. It's normally in the park, but it's going to be raining Saturday night. So we're going to have it in this room, and the movie starts at 7, and the Boy Scouts are going to be doing the concessions. And we're going to be watching The Incredible Journey, and this is the last movie until June of next year. Or, yeah, The Incredible Journey. So this is the last movie until next year. We'll start in June in the park again.
All right, thank you, Marlene. Anything else? Any other public comment? Yes, sir.
I've got a concern about these trucks that have been coming through town hauling, they're hauling boulders over the mountain, and they've been all day, every day doing this. And one company in particular is causing a lot of trouble. They came through town the other day and spraying stuff all over the road. They broke my windshield, and their attitude is, if you don't have the rock that hit your windshield and you don't have a picture of it hitting your windshield, then there's nothing that we can do. And I've talked to a number of people, and it's most of those trucks are fine. I understand the need for this trucking to take place, but there's one company in particular that's causing a lot of people a lot of grief. And I don't want to name names here, but
Why not?
Yeah.
okay. It's Scoff Trucking.
Scott?
Petaluma?
Scoff.
Marty Scott?
Scott.
Yeah.
I'll give him a call.
The others, the others are just fine. I haven't heard anything, but everybody that is having trouble when they go over the mountain, they are. There were 2 of them that went over the mountain the other day, and they were going side by side through the passing lane, and they stopped everybody. And so I called them, and I said, well, you should use a pull-off if you're going to go that slow. And they said, we're not being paid to use a pull-off. We're being paid by the hour, so we don't do that.
California law.
Well, from the standpoint of things falling off the truck, whether it's gravel or whatever, call California Highway Patrol and get a hold of the commander up there, and he'll get someone down here and we'll get it straightened out.
Okay.
Okay? Okay, anything else?
Are they? Oh,
Linda?
I just wanted to remind everybody that the annual Lioness Club Halloween, it's a free carnival, and it's on Halloween at the Lions building. So bring little ones out, and if it's raining, it doesn't matter because it's all indoors, and there's free prizes. Everything's free for little kids. And it starts at 6 o'clock.
Okay, anything else? Do you have something, sir?
Just to add on for this gentleman, I'm in the insurance industry, so if you follow a truck and you get hit by a rock that it picks up or drops, just get the license number on the trailer, call the CHP, they can track them, track their insurance, and you don't even have to go to the trucking company, call the insurance company. They'll most likely take care of you.
Yeah, I've been on the phone with these people all week, and I just think that they ought to work with the community. They're going to be bringing these boulders through town, whatever it is that they're doing. They ought to work with the community a little bit.
They should. If they don't, go right to the CHP and get the insurance information.
And I certainly don't mean that to reflect on all of the companies that are hauling over, because most of those guys are just doing their job, and I got no problem with them,
I have a question. Why are they hauling rocks?
Well, why do you haul corn? Because somebody wants to sell it, and somebody wants to buy it.
That's right.
That's with rocks. They're taking them down, they're crushing them and making little rocks out of it.
Somebody's making money.
Somebody's making.
Somebody's making $1. God
Oh,
bless them.
green, harvesting green.
Okay, any other public comment? Good, I'm gonna close the public comment and bring it back to the board and go to item 4. I put that on so I could explain to the body something very quickly. I had a couple of emails about the agenda. And people were disappointed that something didn't get on the agenda. Well, if you take time, and I would suggest you do that, to read the bylaws, you'll find out that while the chairman is in charge of the agenda, any person out there can contact any board member and put something on the agenda. Any board member can put something on the agenda. The only time that I have not allowed something to be put on the agenda is when the agenda is too full, we have to put it off a month, which we've had to do from time to time. But I don't put all the agenda items on. Other people come up with ideas. Now, I have to tell you that by about the second week of the month, if I haven't received agenda items from somebody, I'm looking at agenda items myself. Because it wouldn't be a lot of fun to come here and just sit and say, we don't have any agenda items. So,
It might be.
it might be fun, yeah. But, okay, just so you know, anybody can put agenda item on. Just contact any of the board members or myself, or the secretary, and our email, and as you see by the agenda tonight, it'll say item 8 is agenda items for September 8th. We have that on every agenda, and I always ask, does anyone have any agenda items for the next month? If you don't have, please contact the secretary, or board member, or myself if you decide you want to put one on. So is it clear that anybody can put on an agenda item? It's not just the chairman. I'm just exactly like you, except I've got to chair the meeting. It's the only difference. It's the only difference. Okay, is that clear to everyone? Great. Then I'm going to close that issue, and we're going to get on with our candidates. Mr. Brown?
No.
Or is it going to be, who's going to introduce the candidates?
We can introduce them.
That's easy.
That was it.
Well, are we finished with 4?
Don't know what we're doing?
I guess we are.
All right.
But after Lou Costello, who's on first?
Who's on first? Okay. What I'd like to do is, the two people sitting to my right here are both running for the same seat. The one Bill Dodd has is vacating for assembly, or state senate. Sorry, I'll get better here in a minute. Prior to the meeting, we've got a little rules of the ball game here. Both people are going to take 2 minutes to introduce themselves and why they're running for office, speak on their behalf. Then we'll open it up to questions from the people, depending upon how long. We're thinking around 20 minutes or so. And then at the end, they'll take a couple of minutes to do closing statements too.
Because you're 2 and 2 now instead of 5 and 2?
Yeah, okay, is that good? Okay, all right. So,
So before you go any further, I'm like everybody else. I'm right up to here with politicians and things on TV, you know, I'm right up to here, and as I'm sure they are. But nevertheless, that's the system we have. And we welcome these candidates that come out of their nice warm house to come all the way to Middletown and talk to us. And we want to give them every opportunity to tell us what their vision for this district would be, what they would do to help us have a better life here in California. So,
Mr. Chair,
sir.
would it be appropriate to ask anyone that asks a question to ask a question, not make a statement?
Oh, absolutely.
absolutely.
And as I've said many times, Monica, please come up. As I've said many times, if you ask a question and they give you an answer, That is not a debate between you and them. You may not like their answer, but that's their answer. So let's not get into argument with our candidates. You ask a clear question, they will try to give you as clear an answer as possible. Okay? With that, please.
Okay, with that said, Mr. Charlie
Shout.
will begin.
Now I'd like to stand up so I can see everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Charlie Shout. I hail from the small town of Esparto. You follow Cache Creek on down to the Cape Bay Valley, and there's a little farm town called Esparto. My family moved there in the 1880s. We've been farming since the 1882 when we founded the ranch. It's currently Shout Farms. It's 3,600 acres of different crops. We rely heavily on Lake County for the water in Clear Lake, and then especially Indian Valley Reservoir, because that's what gives Yolo County, makes us green. That's our watershed. So this is a very important district to me. I went to Yuba College and I roomed with a lot of young people. Now they're middle-aged or older, but up at Yuba College at the dorms, because we had Kelseyville and Middletown and Lower Lake, guys like Mike Mawson and Linda Vargo. I went to school with them at Yuba College. Then I went up to Chico State. I have 2 degrees in agriculture, one in agricultural business and another in agronomy, soils, irrigation, and drainage. But when I graduated in college, I did what my father did. I decided I wanted to serve my country. And I joined the United States Marine Corps, and I became an officer, and I spent 28 years with the Marines, both active and reserve time. And I'm a veteran now of Desert Storm, where I commanded the Stockton Marines in the combat, and I'm also a veteran of the Battle of Fallujah in 2004. I retired in 2009 at the rank of Lieutenant Colonel. I had a lot of billets in the Marine Corps. Some of them were very, very important, such as Force Protection Anti-Terrorism Officer all the way from East Timor to Alaska to Afghanistan with the current operations in the 3rd Marine Division. I also, in the Battle of Fallujah, I was a security officer. That's intelligence security, working with the SSO in the G2 section for the entire Anbar province. I was the guy that made sure classified information stayed classified. These are all important things that I've done in my lifetime. Now I'm running for the assembly so I can go there and represent you. I'm not a professional politician. I'm not really a politician at all. I always say politicians wet their finger and tell you what you want to hear. And they will exaggerate to the nth degree on what the truth is and what the truth isn't. I like to be a Marine. I like to be a leader. I like to tell you the truth. You may not like what I need to tell you, but that's what you need to know. There are going to be huge differences tonight that probably come out between myself and my opponent. They spent $2.2 million in the primary to get her into the top 2. I spent $17,000, yet it's almost a tie. Why? Because you voters are smart, and you can ask some good questions. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Cecilia Aguiar-Curry. I'm the current mayor of the city of Winters, so it's not much bigger than what we have here in Middletown or many of the rural communities in this district. As you'll see on the map, you'll understand what the importance of somebody that has been successful in a small city. So I'm here to tell you about my accomplishments. First of all, I'm the mayor of the city of Winters. I've been on the planning commission, and along that line, I worked very hard to have economic development in a community that had 0. And the reason I say 0 because we're primarily a farming community and we don't have a really strong workforce. In the past 4.5 years, I've brought in over $200 million of economic development in a town of 7,000. That's what I want to help this community for. That's what I can help you do. How did I do that? I was aggressive. I worked hard. I got the PG&E $75 million training facility to come to my town. It could have gone to Vacaville, it could have gone to Fairfield, it could have gone to Vallejo. I fought to get it in my community. What did that do? It helped revitalize. What's it going to do? It's revitalizing my downtown. We're not putting in 1 new hotel, we're putting in 2 hotels. I now have service jobs that I've never had in my community. I have new restaurants booming. We worked really hard with revitalization. What we did is that we helped with our local private investors, meaning small businesses in your community, we helped them out. How did we do that? We did a 3-pronged approach. We said, we'll help paint your front of your business, number 1. We'll help you get internet so you can do sales out the back door. And we want you to help us with an event. 1 event a month, 1 event a year. But now we have an event every single week and people want to come to my community.
30 seconds.
I'm not only done that, I've done regional. I am the chairman of the Yolo County Water Resource Association. I'm very familiar with what's happening at Clear Lake. I'm also the chairman of the Yolo County Housing Commission. Why is that important? I can talk to you about what's happening with FEMA, HUD, all those important things that you guys had to deal with during your fires, okay? I'm also on the Sacramento Council of Governments. Why am I not? Because I know transportation. I'm not a professional politician. What I am is I cared about my community. Thank you.
So, the candidates, we'll start over here. Questions of the candidates? Go ahead, sir.
Water.
Yeah.
About 15 years ago, we had a problem on San Helena Creek. There's nothing below the water table. Everybody on the creek got hit with a lawsuit for $2 million. I just don't seem to have it this week. But we had to fight like hell, and it cost us money out of our pockets just to be able to pull money out of the creek. And we had to go all the way back to Spanish law to do it. And I understand you both come from downstream, and it's the folks downstream that want our water. We have almost no water here. You have to go up in the hills and go down 1,400 feet and spend $250,000 just to get water. What are you going to do to protect us from that kind of stuff? Are we going to have to pay for our own?
I'll be more than happy to answer that. So there's no doubt about it, there's a lot of problems with water issues. And one of the things that we're working on, and I know not a lot of people here want to hear it, but it's called the Sustainable Groundwater Management Plan. So we can figure out where there's water in the area and we can do monitoring. Yes, there's issues with it, but the fact of the matter is that all of you in here want local control. Am I not right? You don't want the state telling you what to do. So the importance of a Sustainable Groundwater Management Plan is to make sure we know how much water and how much is sustainable in your area. Years ago, as you might know, is that Clear Lake was designated as the Yolo County water. We share it with you. And one of the things I really want to work on is finding out if we can do Tahoe Blue, why can't we do Clear Lake Blue? Now I know there's been plenty of studies in the past, and I have already talked to the chancellor at UC Davis, and I was asked him, can you find out about what studies that have already happened here? I've also talked to Supervisor Jim Steele. I introduced him to the Department of Natural Resources, John Laird, so we can have that conversation again. I'd like to have that with Mr. Comstock as well, is that there's plenty of people that have done some work, but I don't know that we've sat at the table and tried to come up with something. I feel your pain because in Winters, California, I have a $22 to $40 million Chrome 6 issue. How am I going to pay that between about 1,500 ratepayers? It's almost impossible. I'll be asking for each one of my people for an extra $200 a month. So I'm going to go to the state capitol and I'm going to work really hard on trying to figure out who is really running the shop over there. Why are we not transparent? Why is on Chrome 6 that we don't have the answers and the data, but they're telling us to do this new monitoring? So I guarantee you I will be a voice for the entire region, in fact the state. So thank you.
Now, let me give you a different perspective. That's what I studied in college. That's how we really make a living. Riparian water rights, appropriated water rights, adjudicated water rights. Those are what we deal with. And now we're dealing with the state coming in with groundwater. I'm a Republican. I'm pro building new dams. I'm pro grabbing water and not letting it go out to the ocean. The Colorado River, we grab 80% of it and use it for human good. Only 20% of it runs out to the ocean down there in Mexico. In the Sacramento River, 80% of our water runs out to the Carquinez Straits. We're losing water hand over foot. Now, one of the things we can do to help you up here, and I believe you're on Pewter Creek right here, which is going to go down to Lake Berryessa. But nevertheless, Lake Berryessa and Clear Lake, they're both our watersheds for Solano County and Yolo County, the other side of the district. We're building Sites Dam. That's going to be up in Colusa, Glenn County. That's going to be water from the Shasta River system, the Sacramento River. That's going to provide water that's going to be available for Yolo County. That'll take some of the water, hopefully, and relieve the pressure off Clear Lake. As you know, Clear Lake, we built the Rumbly Gauge in 1911, I believe, and they only own the top few feet, Yolo County does. The rest of it that's permanent, and they can only use the top few. Then Yolo County built Indian Valley Dam Reservoir where they could almost drain it as long as let the fish survive. Those are important for that part of the district. What's important for this district is to protect your water rights. Find new sources of water for the Central Valley and Southern California, because let me put it this way. 20 years ago, we had 1 acre foot of water for almost every family in California. population has grown. Now we have about half an acre foot for every family in California. This goes all the way down to Los Angeles and San Diego because it's a thirsty state. In another 20 years, we'll be down to a quarter acre foot of water for every family. We're going to run out of water unless we're proactive. That's what I'll do in the assembly, is get in there and fight to build new water systems and make sure that people have water to survive and your children have a future in this state. Without it, we'll dry up. And that's what I'll fight for. I'll also protect the watershed. My opponent is a big champion of Snow Mountain National Monument. I was totally against it, still am, even though Obama put it in there. Why? Because it takes federal control over the watershed of the mountains that you need. It goes all the way from Wilbur Springs up to Goat Mountain, up to Snow Mountain, up almost to the Wally Wilderness, all the way down past Cache Creek down to Winters. They're going to make that federal control. It's your watershed. Why would anybody do that, Cecilia? Why? Because that's what the left wants. I'm a farmer. I care about agriculture and the survival of our state, and that's what I'll fight for.
So, legalizing the recreational use of cannabis, if that ballot measure were to pass, do you see this as a threat or an opportunity or a little bit of both?
I'll go first. I'm not going to vote for that one. Right now on County Road 84B, right next to our ranch, we farm 3,500 acres. We have about 100 acres of almonds. Right next to us, there's a 20-acre farm. And they cut out the trees in the Cinderella orchard, and they've got several acres of marijuana growing. It's so strong right now, it'll knock you over. They've got pit bull dogs in there. They've got fences this high. They have people living in tents around there. I assume they have shotguns. That's not a good thing for anybody to have in their community. Why would we want to legalize something that the federal government still considers on the narcotics list? So I'm going to vote no on that proposition. I hope you do too. It's really not about me. I'm an old guy now. It's about our children and our children's children. What kind of society you want them to live in?
First of all, it's going to the voters. Proposition 64 is going to the voters, and I will honor whatever the voters say. Do I have concerns? Absolutely. Are our police ready for this? How is it going to affect our children? Is it a public safety issue? There's many things that are going to still not be answered by this proposition. Like many propositions, I think that many of our constituents don't read all the fine print or ask the right questions. And I think what's going to happen, my guess is that it will pass. And if it does so, we're going to be doing a lot of cleanup at the assembly, trying to make sure that we can do track and trace, those kinds of things. Right now, we're finding with medicinal marijuana in our area, in particular, we just had a major raid by the Trident group in Winters. And one of the things we're finding is that because there was not a track and trace, they don't have a way to figure out who has medicinal marijuana and who doesn't have medicinal marijuana, how that is going out to the communities that are actually manufacturing or making the oils and those kinds of things. So I think there's a lot of questions that are going to happen with it. My biggest concern is obviously in whose hands it is going to get. Really a public safety issue. I really worry about how are we going to, if somebody is under the influence driving, and how are you going to be able to tell if they're under the influence of marijuana or under alcohol or whatever. So it's mainly public safety issues that I'm worried about. Is there opportunities with that? Sure there are, right? You can tax it. There's things like that. Maybe you can, and depending upon how that taxing is, some people say, oh, let's go to the schools, let's go to infrastructure. I don't think we have that answer yet, and so hopefully we'll have that sooner than later.
Cecilia,
Yeah.
you mentioned that you brought revenue to your area.
Mm-hmm.
How, with such a large area, are you going to be able to bring revenue specifically to every needy community? How will you work with this community to bring what revenue, and who decides what the appropriate revenue is?
So first of all, I'm going to work with the supervisors and some of the elected officials, your county redevelopment, county community development people, your CAO. Those are the first things you have to do. You got to sit down with them and say what has already been done, what's been successful, what hasn't been successful. My pie in the sky that I've told everyone and anyone that knows me is that technology, and why don't we have internet for all? Why is internet important for your communities in a rural area particularly? Job creation, economic development, health access, education for schools. All those kinds of things are really, really important and it can help. So when I was talking about doing businesses, you have a storefront and then you can sell your product out the back door, and it still generates income to your area. I've had conversations because of many of the unions are saying to me, they're saying, oh, we don't have enough employees, blah, blah, blah. I said, you know what? Have you been to Lake County? Have you thought about doing a training center in Lake County? Wouldn't that be great? Because anybody could go to get trained, whether a plumber or whatever, and it's really difficult to get them to convince them to do that. The other thing is that I would work with is the schools, making sure you can get vocational education back in the schools. We no longer have that, correct? Our technology. And those kinds of things, if we start with the younger kids, that only opens up the door for so many other possibilities. So economic development is like when I was talking about the lake. I think number one is that we need to go back to the drawing board, have these discussions with the supervisors, past, current, your community members, and say what worked, where's some of those studies, because we know there's been studies up here. But what happened to them, and how can we move that forward? Tahoe Blue is an incredible project. It's taken years and years to do it. But we can do that here as well, and that would help thrust you into.
How would that help us?
Hang on, before you ask a second.
Yeah.
Let me respond. I have a different way of doing things, folks. I spent 28 years in Marine Corps and I grew up on a farm. You let the corporals do the corporaling, which means we let the county supervisors do the supervising. What my job will be is to go to the assembly and get the money down to your supervisors, because local control is always the best control. You know what Middletown needs, not a bureaucrat in Sacramento. And hopefully your supervisors that get elected know what you need, and they'll work with you to make sure we spend those monies to do so. I'm going to do the same thing in education. I spent 2 terms on the Esparto School Board. I got a bomb passed down there with 75% of the vote yes, because I know how to get things done. 75% vote yes in a conservative farm district. Those farmers are writing big checks to build those schools, but they voted yes. Why? Because local control works. I want the schools funded with no strings from Sacramento. I want the supervisors to be able to decide how to rebuild the roads in your community, how to put in the fire breaks, what fire support they need. My job is to make sure the state finds a way to help fund it. Now we have to be honest. Southern California controls Sacramento. There are so many legislators from Southern California, you don't get anything done unless you understand that they have the votes to stop you from doing anything. So what do we have that we're going to be able to work with them on? We're going to have to work together, both sides, Republican and Democrat, for what's good to the state and gets the economy rolling again. Because your economy's hurting. You go to Napa County, they have $5,000 a ton grapes. They're making money hand over foot. Lake County's hurting. It breaks my heart when I go up to places like Hoburg, where I grew up there in the summer times, to see it burn down to nothing. It used to be one of the finest resorts in the world. But we need to provide funds to the county, to the schools, to the cities, with no strings attached. We don't need a big bureaucracy in Sacramento. We don't need Snow Mountain. We don't need Tahoe Blue. We need you to decide what's best for Lake County. And that's what I'll fight for, because it works.
I would like each of the candidates to please give your the most issues you feel need to be focused on and prioritize them from the most to the least. And that would include Valley Fire, jobless homeless people, and also places like Bottle Rock Power and environmentally speaking.
Did you hear that? Sort of your holding your ear.
Not quite. It was kind of a long. She wants those.
She's looking at the priorities in your mind of various issues here. Everything from the Valley Fire issue, to the Bottle Rock Power issue, to
homeless, jobless.
All the issues that concern Lake County. What's your priority of
On those issues, or just what my issues are?
issues?
I'll go first.
Or if you have any issues you have.
Okay, my issue, number one issue, is make a government accountable again. The lobbyists are controlling Sacramento. The special interests are controlling Sacramento. I want the people back in charge. That's number one. Transparency in government. No more backroom deals. No more selling out the people for your own firm, whatever that is. Number two, fire and safety and local control. How many? Last year, your town burned down. Lower Lake just burned down. Napa's been burning up. We need you to be able to have enough bulldozers and fire people, and also be proactive to be able to get up there and clean out the brush and make it a safe place to live. We used to. The old timers would think we're crazy with some of the things we do now. Number 3, public education. We must invest in our children. There is no future. Like I spent 28 years in the military. I defended our country. I've seen men come home in caskets. It's not fun to see a young man or woman come home and not get to live his life. But they've given their life for our country now. But what about the future? If we don't get those kids back a good education like the one I got, there's no future for America. What are we fighting for? We could collapse. And then those would be my base. And then fiscal responsibility. Folks, what the elephant in the room that they don't like to talk about in Sacramento is our state has over a $400 billion with a B unfunded debt to our public retirement system, PERS, STRS, and others, debts, bonds, all these things we borrowed money for, or we guaranteed money in the future as payments. We don't have the income stream to pay it. There's only one way we're going to be able to get out of a $400 billion debt, and that's to unleash the California economy, take the restrictions off the farmers, off the business people, get the government out of your business, let you run your businesses, get the businesses running, get people employed, get people paying taxes again, get families back together so they can afford a home, and when those taxes come in, we can pay down that debt. Because if we don't, we've destroyed our children and our grandchildren's future. I got 20 years or so left on the planet if I'm lucky. What do I leave for the next generation? That's the main reason why I'm doing this. What are we going to do for our kids and our grandchildren if we straddle them with all this debt and a government that's becoming non-workable? One person said to me, Charlie, why do you want to go to Sacramento? It's a fiscal train wreck. It is a fiscal train wreck because somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got some guts and honesty and courage. That's me. I'll stand up. Those lobbyists don't like me. They spent $2 million to get my opponent up here. They didn't spend any on me. And it'll stay that way. Because I am what I am. I am a Marine and I'm a farmer's son. And I'm proud of it.
So I believe the question was what would we do for the region and for Lake County. Since last October, I have traveled to Lake County probably 40 times. And I've been here from 7 o'clock in the morning. I've been to the judge's breakfast. I've been to coffees. I've been to the farm bureaus. I've been to Ag Ventures. I've been at all kinds of meetings. What have I heard? Everyone says we have housing issues. We have transportation and infrastructure issues. We have a jail here in Lake County that they're very concerned about and that trying to get the funding, and that's not all working out. I know that there's a homeless issue here in Lakeport. You can see it right downtown and many places throughout the county. We have mental health issues here in the county, veterans issues. Each one of those groups I've tried to meet with if I haven't already. I've met with the veterans and they were wonderful. They gave me lots of information of what their concerns were. As a matter of fact, I picked up the phone in a coffee shop when a gentleman said, I have heart problems, I can't get in the Veterans Hospital, and I can't get in until September, and this was back in June. While I sat there, I said, do you mind if I pick up the phone and call your congressman? I picked up the phone, called Congressman Garamendi. The gentleman got an appointment in 6 weeks rather than in 3 months. So there's a lot of issues here, we know that. And you know, the only thing we're going to be able to do is that we have to work together. And we have to find the leadership in this community, in this county, that want to take risks and move forward. You have to do it together. You can't be divided. You know, you have 2 junior colleges here. Let's get those together. Let's get them working better together. And rightfully so, one's in 2 different districts, and that's fine. But there's so many opportunities here. One of the opportunities we should take advantage of is Loyola Marymount College. That's a wonderful college that you have right in your back door here. And you know what? The tuition is the same as Sonoma State University. They have an area in that facility on the bottom floor to possibly partner with UC Davis. Why not take UC Davis and take some of their scientists or bring their medical people up here or whatever it can be to share. So I'm really for private-public partnerships. I am for local control. Why do you think I'm for sustainable groundwater management? Because that means the locals tell you what to do, not someone in the state. Why am I so into in education? I have brought in $600,000 of money into my community for schools for technology. We leveraged that, I want to hear that, leveraged it locally for money from the California Emerging Technology Fund. Every student in the 6th grade got to take a tablet home. And why did they get to take that home? Because we made the parents be accountable. You could only take a tablet home if your parent came to class and got training for 6 hours. We got 100% of the people did that. This year, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders all have tablets. What are we missing? Internet. We're missing good connectivity at a reasonable price. But with that dollar amount, I've leveraged that as a community believed in us for a $14 million bond to fix a decrepit school that I went to, and Charlie's familiar with Winters High School because we're so close, we used to play football against each other. Ours was an old, our high school is still an old Army barrel. Still. I moved to Winters in 1957. They were there in 1957. So, in 26 days at the election, we're trying to get a second bond in 2 years. And I think we're going to do it because people believe in your community. So again, you need leadership. Well, these are the kinds of things we're hoping to work with. I know your area better than you think. I'm here a lot, and I think there's people in this room that can tell that story.
Okay, we're going to have one last question from this lady here.
The gentleman here spoke of us having no water. So does sustainable groundwater management look at our current and future water needs, and does it also look at new business and assess their water needs? Our elephants in the room are the vineyards and their high-end agriculture and the high water usage. How do you feel about that?
You want me to go or you want to
Go ahead.
Okay, so I think you should give a little credit to ag because I think agriculturalists are really, and farmers are being very innovative on how they use their water because they too want to conserve it. When you pump water, it costs you money, right? It costs you electricity. If they can find a better, smarter way to do it, they do it. For instance, they might have a variable pump put on their system. They might be doing it different times of night so that they don't use as much water. But the thing with the Sustainable Groundwater Management Plan is that the state divided us all up and to figure out how much water each one. So I'm going to give Yolo County as a for instance because I'm very familiar with that. In Yolo County, they made us into 5 subbasins, and they are all through the county. Initially, we were part of Colusa County, we had it, and part of it in Solano County. But how can you have a governance in different counties? It'll never work. So we went to DWR, we told them we wanted to do subbasins, they have agreed with that. Now we have to figure out the most difficult part is governance. The benefit, if you want to call it the benefit, not everyone thinks it is, but we have to figure it out. We're one of the few states that doesn't monitor their water. And so when San Joaquin farmers are moving to my Northern California area and planting everywhere, I have no data that says how much water is being used. And I think it's important to have that. So when you're talking about in your community, when we first did the PG&E project, that particular piece of property was supposed to have 1,000 homes. And I never really wanted 1,000 homes in my community. We're going to have growth elsewhere, but particularly my vision was when you have your town, my welcome mat was not going to be housing. My welcome mat was going to be something else. Luckily, this PG&E project came along, so instead of me having to figure out how to pay the infrastructure for my water and my sewer of 1,000 homes, I'm right now thinking of maybe about 6 men's toilets and maybe 2 women's toilets and a small kitchen. So you just have to figure out what your usage is. The counties and the cities all have to figure that out. They have ordinances and stuff on how much water you can use, and it's up to them to tell you. So that's not a state thing. That's really your local control of what you can have and how that's used.
Folks, let's get down to brass tacks. This groundwater sustainment thing came from the Democrats and Governor Brown because they're trying to control the water under your property. The water under your property got there through percolation, through rain. Now, why does the government, you think I'm from the government and I'm here to help? Does that sound good? No, they're going to come on. We farm 3,600 acres. We have wells we dug in the last drought in the 1970s that go down 400 feet. We didn't turn one of those wells on until this last drought we just had, just now. It sat dormant for 30 years. because we don't like to use groundwater when we can use surface water. Surface water is much more affordable. The reason we're here is because the Democrats want to control the wells. They want to control the water supply. They want to control the water above ground. They want to control the water under the ground. If they control the clouds too, they would if they could. I don't believe in that. I believe your local county needs to do what's best. The reason we have local control in the Groundwater Sustainable Act is because the state said either you form these districts or in 2 years the Water Resources Board is going to come in and take over and they're going to be in control of your wells. Pardon?
Just my point, local control.
Right, but we didn't need that control to begin with. Like I said earlier, 80% of the Sacramento River is running out in the ocean. Why is that water not being captured and spread across the farmlands and fertile soils of this state to recharge our aquifers? Why? Because somebody put a bunch of smelt more important than human goods. So now the state's going to come in and control our water so they can send more water down the delta and control more, help more smelt and put more farmers out of business. The people in Napa County, they don't have a surface water source for their farmers. They have Lake Hennessy and a few other small lakes for drinking water, but they are 100, those grape growers down there are 100% on well water. Down on the Walt Ranch, they're going 1,500 feet down to drill a well. That's going to probably put the people next to them, make their wells go dry. But the reason is we're not capturing the water. We're not using smart government. It's not good government to come in and control what you got left. We don't need an America or a California with less. We need a California with more. You need more water. You need more crops. You need more jobs. You need more growth. You don't do that by putting government controls and regulations on anything. And that's exactly what they're doing. Rather than finding a solution, they're trying to control what you got. My goal in Sacramento will be to capture the water we can capture, recharge the aquifers, and let people live a free life with little hindrance from the government.
Yeah, hi. Thank you both for being here and for running Assembly District 4. There's been a couple of times that campaign financing has been brought up. It must be expensive to run a campaign. Can you talk a little bit about financing the campaign?
Sure, I will.
Thanks.
So I want to make something clear because Mr. Schaub isn't giving you how it really works, but that's okay. So if anybody has ever run, and many of you are in here, and Moke and Monica know, is that they're expensive. But in all my years as a city council member, I only raised $800 in all those years. That was it. So I came into this really, really green, not expecting when it's going to happen. I have to make my money in my campaign. All of us have a campaign. He's got his, I've got it, we'll have a campaign. We all go into these rooms and there's this many people and you get a 10-minute, hi, my name is Cecilia, this is where I'm from, blah, 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 and you walk out the door. And the next person's coming in and they walk out the door. You're thinking that they're going to help you with your personal campaign. That's not how it works anymore. Ever since Citizens United got passed by the Supreme Court, you pretty much they can give any money they want to and you can never talk to anyone. So all of a sudden, I'm going to coffee one morning and I go and Peter says to me, hey, I saw your commercial last night. I said, what do you mean a commercial? He said, there's a commercial on you. There's no way. He goes, I saw your brother's picture on it and I saw your other brother's picture on it. I go, that can't be mine. Called my campaign manager and I said to him, Phil, what's going on? And I told him and he says, holy sh*. The independent expenditures got you. I didn't ask for it. I don't know who those people were. I didn't know anything. So if you got a lot of flyers that had me on it or my picture on it, that was not me. If you saw on those, on the bottom from Cecilia, you only saw one from me because I couldn't afford it. I couldn't afford it. So on the bottom, and keep your eyes open, and it's with everybody's race, it'll say, some govern for California or whatever, and you don't know who's in that group. So I want to make sure that you understand is that that wasn't me. I made $138,000 I asked farmers for. Family and friends helped pay for my campaign. That was it. I sent out one letter, a Mother's Day letter for my kids. That was it. So it's independent expenditures. It's run by under Citizens United. Look it up because you're going to be surprised what Supreme Court judges let that go through. I'm totally against it. I agree with him. Everybody should be on the level playing field. I didn't do it. I didn't ask for it. They did it. So that's how that is run. And I think it's important that people know that, because I never knew it. And I'll bet you a lot of you in this room thought, oh, you know, he keeps saying they're throwing money or she knows these people. Don't know it. So that's the story. Go ahead.
Okay, you got a quick rundown. Here's the deal. We both have our own private campaigns, but lobbyists and special interests control Sacramento. In this last primary, I tracked it. First it was 300,000 from the Association of Realtors. Then it was another 300,000 from Exxon and Valero. Then it was 500,000 coming from EdVoice, that's the charter schools back.
That's
these are all going.
expenditures.
Yeah, these are all independent expenditures. And back in training, it's called Trailblazer training, where the Republican Party brought us in to get us trained so we'd be smart and not say dumb things, hopefully. One of the lobbyists came in he said, I represent the Associated Realtors. He goes, and we introduced each other. And I said, I'm Charlie, I'm running the fourth. He goes, oh, you're going to be running against Cecilia. Now this is a year ago. They had already pegged Cecilia as their candidate. Why did these people spend $2.3 million? Because they wanted to knock out Dan Walk. Because Dan Walk has a mother named Lois Walk who's in the Senate, and she won't put up with their baloney. They did not want Don Saylor. So they decided to support a Mayor Winters because they want to control the agenda in Sacramento, so they made sure the Democrat endorsed candidate got pushed out. And most of these PACs I just talked about are pro-Republican leaning PAC, which really chapped me, and Brolte, the state chairman, heard a whole earlobe from me a whole bunch of times about why they're interfering in the race. But that's what's going on, and that's what we need to clean up in Sacramento. They didn't spend $1 on me, and frankly, I had to tell them to pound sand, because I think what they're doing is wrong. And it's wrong when the lobbyists control Sacramento. When that Associated Realtors came to that training and said that Cecilia was the person I'd be running against, and they said, but before he knew who I was, he said, well, I'm so-and-so from the Associated Realtors, and I tell my wife that I have so much power that I decide who gets to be in the assembly and who doesn't. Well, in this case, he knocked out Dan Walk and Don Saylor before you even voted, because he spent millions. Folks, that's obnoxious. We got to say no to these lobbyists and super PACs. We've got to have a House of the Senate and the Assembly that represents you, the people, and not PG&E, not the Valero, not the EdVoice, not the Associated Realtors, not the Trial Lawyers Association, not the California Teachers Association, not the union that represents service employees. It needs to represent you, the people in Middletown. That's not happening. I ran my campaign with $17,000 in the primary. They spent $2.2 million without her consent, but to make sure they knocked out who they didn't want. When you sum it up, it was over $100 a vote for Cecilia. To get a vote, one person to vote Cecilia instead of Don Saylor. I spent about 67 cents. You know, where do you want to go with your future? What do you want? Who do you want in charge of Sacramento? You want the lobbyists? This Marine don't want the lobbyists. That's why I'm fighting this battle. I've seen too many young men and young women not come home to see it destroyed by special interest groups that are only concerned about money.
One last question, Mr.
I
Forrest.
have a question for Cecilia.
Okay.
I've been fortunate. I'm a native son of the Golden West. Born in California, spent my whole life here. And I can remember clearly what California was about. Good highways, good roads, good schools, good everything. Now the Democrats have been in charge of the state for 46 of the last 52 years or something like that. And what are you going to do that's going to change the direction we're going? Because I think a lot of people don't like the direction we're going. We got higher taxes. We got, for instance, groundwater. They're going to monitor the groundwater.
Yay.
They're going to tax you for the groundwater you use. Make no
Yay.
mistake. So, what are you going to do as a Democrat to help the individual, independent farmer, worker, businessman get along in California easier than we have now with all the regulations and all the excess spending? What are you going to do differently?
So first of all, I'm considered a mod dem because fiscally I'm very conservative. If you go and look at the City of Winners, our budget, we're in the red. When everyone else in the economy went down, we really held our head up high. We were very conservative. We made sure we balanced our budget. We made sure that we had unfunded liabilities taken care of, and our unfunded liabilities have come down substantially. I can't agree more with Mr. Shop because I've been promoting, talking about unfunded liabilities, and he's right. People don't want us to talk about it. But guess what? Whether either one of us are there, we have 12 years to move that ship. 12 years to move it. But I will tell you what the difference is that I work with everybody. I work on either side of the aisle. I came here to Lake County and did a presentation in front of 40 people over in Lucerne. And I said to the host and hostess, I don't want to know who's who in this room. I'm going to tell my story, and I'm going to tell it from my heart, just like I do everywhere else I go. At the end of the conversation, not knowing who was in the room, and I felt a little uncomfortable, I said, but I do want to address something. Many of you, and probably many of you in here today, feel like you are left out, that you're underrepresented. And you know what? You are. You absolutely are. Because, from my experience, I was the president of the League of California Cities. I had 18 counties I supervised and 60 small cities. And you know what? When you're in this position, you make no money. As a mayor, mayors don't make money, council members don't make money, you don't get a retirement, you don't get benefits. You do it because you love it. And it's so hard for many of our counties, Del Norte, wherever the people are, Lake County, to attend League of California Cities meetings or go network down in Santa Rosa. That takes time out of your day. You've worked all day. And you know what? You're right. You're not represented. And it's frustrating because I want to make sure everyone's at the table. And I'm going to work hard to have everyone at the table. And I've told people in this community, I want you and you, whoever wants to come, whether it is a professional, whether it is a scientist, whether it's a layperson, you need to be at the table. You need to hear your voice. So, I'm going to tell you right now is that I work with people. People will tell you that I collaborate, I'm on boards, and why am I, and I agree with someone saying, you know, it's really frustrating with the Sustainable Groundwater Management Plan. You are absolutely right. But you know what we're doing? We're collaborating with the Farm Bureau. They're at the table now. Because they also saying, I don't want the state telling me what to do. If we don't have our local answer, we are SOL. So I will tell you is that I'm going to work for mental health issues. I'm going to work for very conservative, making sure fiscally we're okay. We're going to work hard with the supervisors. How are we going to make sure that they can get their jail? Why didn't that happen? Why didn't it work? Let's go look into it. Why? This is a poor community. This area. I have already made contacts over at the Capitol. I went and spoke to the Speaker of the House already. Why did I do that? Because I said to him, whoever gets this territory, whether it's Mr. Shop or myself, we need a bigger budget. Because other people get a bigger budget for their area, and that map that's going around, if you haven't seen it, look how big that is. Southern California, they get a mile by a mile because it's based on population. So I'm already begging that whoever gets this seat, we get more money. We get more representation. Why not have the seat, the Congressman, Thompson, Garamendi, the Assembly member, the Mike McGuire, why not have one office downtown Lakeport so we can serve your community?
Can I get a response?
Sure.
That was my
You said, as a Democrat, what would you do? As a Republican, I'll tell you, first and foremost, I'm a farmer's son. Then I'm a patriot and an American. And I'm a Marine, I'm damn proud of it. And I'm somebody who cares about my community. I chose Republican because it more fits my values of local control for local issues, limited government, freedom, and personal standards of accountability and responsibility for all. And equality for all, and not big government programs. Let me tell you a short story to tell you how I'll work with anybody to get things done. I told you about passing the school bond with 75% of the vote. We went to the teachers, we went to the Taxpayer Association, we went to the Lions Club, we went to seniors. I can work with anybody to get things done because I did it in the Marine Corps. But just recently, you know, I'm kind of a firebrand in the Republican Party, but I'm well known. And I don't get along with this guy named Jim Nielsen, who's a state senator, who's the leader of the Republican caucus. He says he lives in a trailer in Gerber in Tama County. He actually lives in a $1 million home in Woodland, and he's lived in Woodland since 1969. But he needed that trailer so he could run for the state assembly in 2008. So he bought a trailer from his in-laws and said he lived there. He didn't live there. He's not being honest. I don't like people like that. Jim Nielsen and I do not speak. He tried to speak to me recently at a get-together for the lobbyists over at the convention. He came up and goes, "Charlie, you did great in the primary. You're on a roll." And I looked at him and go, "Jim, I may never win an election, but unlike you, when I wake up in the morning, I can look myself in the mirror and know I'm an honorable person. That's who I am. I led Marines in combat. They don't follow you in combat if you lie to them, if you don't tell them the truth. I've been honest on the ballot. I said I'm a retired Marine officer. I didn't claim to be a farmer when my brother's running the farm. Her brothers run her farm. I told you the truth. I'll always tell you the truth. That's who I am. And you know, I realize what politics is. In Northern California, we're vastly outnumbered. A lot of people want to break away and form the state of Jefferson. They've just about had it. I'm going to go there, and I'm going to be a bull in the china shop and say, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, clean up this nonsense, put the people back in charge of their state, or I'm going to raise holy heck. In the Marine Corps, my nickname was Pitbull. Why was I the Pitbull? Because Colonel Jacobson wrote a fitness report on me when I was a major, when I had to do some anti-terrorism operations in Anataka, Turkey, next to the Syrian border. He said, this Marine seeks out and holds on to the responsibility with a pit bull, like a pit bull. Well, in the civilian world, that sounds kind of scary, huh? In the Marine Corps, I got promoted on the very next board because they want that. They want people that'll stand up and tell you the truth. I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican. I don't care if you're conservative or liberal. We're all in the same ship. We better right the ship and plug the holes or our ship's going to sink.
All right, with that,
You want to give them a 2 minutes closing?
2 minutes each for closing comments, and you've gotten a taste of both sides, and so hopefully there's a, I'm sure they'll stick around maybe a little bit to answer any further questions you might have afterwards. So I believe.
Who went first?
I'll go first. Oh, yeah,
I'll go first. That's right, you're
Yeah.
first this time.
So thank you very much. I appreciate you putting this together. These forums are very informative. I think the best part is afterwards we want to network and find out about each other, so that's always a really helpful part. So you've heard a little bit about myself. You can go out to my website, ceciliafораssembly.com. And I just want to tell you is that I'm here for you. I've been endorsed by many people here in the county. I've been endorsed by the congressman. I've been endorsed by Assembly Member Dodd. You know, but there's so many more things we could talk about. And that I'm really proud of the Berryessa Snow Mountain and the environmental things that I've done. I'm really excited about what we've done for the watershed, for the Sacramento Valley watershed, and the Pewter Creek restoration projects that are down from my community down to Davis. Those are things that we should continue to do farther up. You know, I am grateful and I'm humbled to be here today. I'm humbled that we get to work and work together. You know, I've known Charlie for a couple of years now. I've helped his community. I worked on a project that he doesn't probably realize, that the refurbishing of his downtown, the storefronts that are at the downtown. It doesn't matter where someone needs help, I'll help. And so I just want to say is that I would appreciate your vote. I'll work really hard for you. I guarantee that if you want to be at the table, I need leadership. And in January, we can come back and sit down and say, who wants to help out? Who wants to help the supervisors? Who wants to help your community? What can we do? And so there's a lot of people that have come up to us during our tour of Lake County that have said to us, I'm retired, I'm from San Francisco, I used to work in mental health. I'd love to help. Where do I go? Those are the things I need your help, because I'm not quite sure where we can have some of those people help out. I have people that have said that they could help with FEMA. They'd like to come out and help out with some housing issues. So there's a lot of things to do. It's an ambitious agenda that I want to go forward with, and I hope to be there, and I would appreciate your vote. Thank you very much.
Folks, thanks for coming out and taking time out of your evening to come hear all our hot air. But hot air is important because Sacramento is important because it's controlling our lives and our future. I didn't know you had anything to do with Main Street, but let me tell you, I have a meeting on Tuesday with people that are trying to undo all that because they think it's nonsense with all the back-end parking and all this other stuff.
I didn't do the back-end parking.
Yeah. A lot of us are scratching my head and go, what Birkenstock group did this to our town?
You're only...
It's an inner joke. When you're from Yolo County, the Birkenstock people live in Davis because they wear Birkenstocks, while the rest of us wear old combat boots because we're out in the fields. But anyway, I'm running for the assembly. I need your help, folks. My opponent likes to say she's a farmer. She inherited some land from her family last year, and she's a trustee on an estate. I don't even claim I'm a farmer because I stopped farming 2 years ago when the drought hit because we didn't have the extra water for the crops I was growing. If the first thing you do is say you're something you're not on the ballot, and you make claims you're not, she came to Esparto and said I'm the mayor of Winters and said, oh, I'm known as the mayor of Western Yolo County. No, you're not.
I have a key to the city.
Some of this stuff, there is no city of Esparto and there's no key. Let's be honest. Let's stop it with the nonsense of politics.
I'll bring it over to you.
I'm going to go to Sacramento with your support if you elect me, and try and put you back in control in your government, and try and put you back in control of Middletown, and say this is nonsense. Because it is nonsense. What are we going? Where are we going? Rome collapsed in 475 AD because the money they had in their pockets had no silver in it anymore, and people wouldn't defend the city, and the engineers wouldn't fix the infrastructure, and the ships wouldn't go down the Carthage to get the grain. It could happen to us. $400 billion unfunded debt. What are we going to do about it? There's only one thing we can do. Make California the golden state of opportunity again, get businesses rolling, get small businesses rolling, get people back to work, get them off Section 8, and get them jobs so they can buy a house. That's what I'm going to fight for.
I want to thank both candidates. Let's give them a Okay, Bob? We have our supervisors now.
Do you mind if you sit in the back of the room?
No, go for it. Yeah, sure. Go
Give them the
water, get cooled off.
You want to sit over this way?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so, again, we last meeting, we had some questions of our candidates and that, for Board of Supervisor. We wanted to bring back up, election is, whatever it is, 20-something days away.
November 28th.
Yeah, 28th, yeah, right. Okay.
I'll be there.
Yeah, we'll be there somewhere, okay, but anyhow, one more opportunity to talk to the people who will one of them will represent the local establishment here. So, we'll start off.
I want to make one comment.
Go for it.
Mine?
Go, I haven't started yet.
If you've been watching the news and the candidates for president, or whatever they're running for, we should count our blessings. We should count our blessings that we have two great people that want to represent us. We may support one or the other, but it doesn't matter. At the end, whoever wins is going to be our supervisor and is going to represent us. So show them some courtesy, and we're really blessed that we have two great people, and I want to thank them for coming once again. Thank you.
Okay, since we started on this side of the room last time, let's start on this side of the room. Any questions over on this side?
Up front.
Front. Go for it, Barbara.
Monica,
Yes,
we need jobs.
yes, we do.
And the county economic development is always pushing the winery business. You're heavily invested in that business. If you're elected supervisor, what other industries are you thinking that we can attract here that will actually create jobs for the people that live here, since the winery business has a tendency to hire contract labor instead of local?
Well, a couple of things. I'm going to correct that last statement, because actually we do hire contract labor, but most of the contract labor that we hire is local. So those crews that are hired by the contract labor live in Kelseyville, live in Clear Lake. So I've been working with the same crew, because you're right, I am invested. I am a grape grower in Middletown, and we've been working with the same crews for years now through a contracted labor. So who also is employed here and started a business here several years ago in Lake County, both with truck drivers, with accounting people. So it's a job multiplier, all hiring local people. His name is David Weiss, working for Bella Vista Farming, right out of Kelseyville. So he's developed a business basically on our expanding wine industry that employs local people to both for the mechanical harvester and for daytime crews. So in regard to jobs, though, beyond the wine industry, part of it is tourism, is a big job opportunity and economic opportunity here for Lake County. And that's, the other thing that kind of goes along the line with agriculture and with wine as well, but it also involves, tourism in, sorry, because I don't have my CTA pin on today, but that's a certified tourism ambassador program. And with that, that's a book that's about yay thick, and it goes through and talks about all the various different things available here in the county, including our casinos, our Native American culture, as well as our theater, our arts, because we have a burgeoning arts, arts business here with all of our local artists, and of course with our MAC right here downtown Middletown. So all of that comes to play in tourism, and those are dollars that come in and feed our economy without putting that extra pressure on our housing and our infrastructure, but supply the funds and the money to assist with that. Additionally to that, as was talked about earlier with our assembly members, is that we need broadband, we need faster internet, because we do have a lot of entrepreneurs here and small businesses. There's just so much that we can do, and I think that we're basically poised for that growth and development. We need to attract the right businesses, and I think we can truly bring jobs here for our people who live here and for our students, for our kids. And again, it was mentioned earlier, vocational training. We need that back in our schools, just like driver's ed. When we send our kids through the driver's ed program and they come out and they can drive a car, they can actually drive a car, and mostly safely. If we can teach them job skills where they can come out and actually go to work, I think that's just phenomenal. So working with our schools, connecting our schools and our businesses, all of that's important for that job development. Thank you.
Even though the question was directed at Monica, do you have any comment?
Sure. Economic development. Obviously, everybody knows Jose Moke Simon. I've been the chairman of Middletown Rancheria for the last 20 years. Economic diversity is something we need to really open ourselves up to, because right now what we do have is agricultural. And what I think is kind of funny when you talk about that is there is a big hot topic subject right now. Dollar General was one of the economic development projects recently that have come in here. And it's got the community divided. But we need to always look at things that meets the requirements and other opportunities to take everything, embrace every opportunity to create jobs here in our hometown, in our community. Over 20 years, I myself, as the leader of Middletown Rancheria, have been creating jobs here in this county. We have over 330 employees. We also own the Mount St. Helena Brewing Company downtown. When you talk about vocational training and other opportunities like that, we currently do it. While people are talking about doing these things, I've been out there doing them. The Mount St. Helena Brewing Company, we use that as a training tool for not only for our tribal members, but the young youth that is coming through the high school. We use to get them a job at the dishwasher, as a busser, those types of things, work skills that we're currently teaching those guys. And as far as economic development, I've got a million different ideas that would work for this community. Now, being elected I would come to the community and say, all right, what are we looking at? And also reaching out to the assemblymen, the senators, and other business opportunities that are here. When you think long-term, I think we have enough space and opportunities here in Lake County, especially South Lake County, where we could go out and look for some type of a PG&E project or some type of a distribution center that could be put together here so we could create long-term jobs for the other folks that are working here. There are so many opportunities, I think, that are being missed on a daily basis and a monthly basis here in Lake County, because we kind of think of the old way, we're agricultural, you've got the lake, you got a little bit of tourism, which I agree with the Blue Lake thing. I don't know how we're going to figure that out. But those are all opportunities that I think are being missed. As far as marketing this community, it will be exciting to have that opportunity as your District 1 supervisor. There are over 440 hotel rooms in this county, and at no point is there one succinct message that's being played on those hotel room televisions. We should be marketing every business and every hotel room that is here in Lake County on those channels. So while you're sitting in your hotel room for a week, or you're here visiting for a weekend, you are seeing what's available and the opportunities here in Lake County to go out and visit other businesses, whether it's arts, businesses, outdoor activities, and all those things. And marketing is something that I've been involved with for many years. We have thousands of people a month coming over that mountain from the Napa Valley all the way down to San Jose, and a bunch of different, the I-80, or the 880 corridor, the 101, bringing them in here and giving us opportunities here in this community. And the way we're reinvesting those dollars is with the 330 employees. There are 19 tribal members working at our facility. The rest of those folks are people that live with you, they're your neighbors, and they're reinvesting those dollars here in our community. Economic development is something that I would embrace from any business. If it can create one job, that's somebody else going to work. And that's what I would do moving forward as District 1 supervisor. And like I said, I've got a lot of ideas, and you folks know me. I like to talk about things that are happening here. You know, like I said, willing to know. In one of the worst economic times that we have ever gone through as a country, I myself, with the help, you know, obviously I never say it, I do by myself. I have a tribal council. But we were able to go out and get a $50 million investment in 2008 and 2009 right here in South County. That's one of the largest ones, I think, that I know of over the past 15 years, at least in this end of the county. And those times we did in some of the hardest times this country has ever felt. We never had to lay anybody off. We balanced our budgets, and we kept jobs here in the community. And those are all things, I think, that kind of go to the side, but those are things that I would bring to the table as a District 1 supervisor, you know, for our South County and the entire county as a whole. And I do want to see our lake blue. I just don't know how to get it there, and I'd be willing to work with anybody at a higher level, not only at our state assembly, but at the federal government. We've got to figure out how to fix that. It bothered me, and I think I said it the last time. Obama went up to Tahoe and said they're going to give him it might have been $100 million to keep that Tahoe thing going forward. Where's our interest here in Lake County? Healthy lake, healthy economy, and we've really got to get this thing fixed. I want to see it done in my generation so that our kids and our grandkids can enjoy that time here. So that's enough. I think that's what I have to say on that issue.
I have a question for you, Mo.
Yes, go ahead.
You can address it as well. The developer for the Award Arabian Ranch out there,
Valley Oaks Project, Ken Porter, yes.
Yeah, they said that the tribe, of course, wants to have somebody out there monitoring the excavations and stuff.
Absolutely.
And of course, everybody supports that. But they said that the tribe wanted that person to get paid, and I wanted to know if that was your position, and then I have a follow-up question.
Okay.
Well, hang on. Ask the follow-up question now.
Well,
let's get it out of it.
The follow-up question would be, would have to do with you recusing yourself from every time a project comes before the Board of Supervisors that you know involves the tribes.
Okay, perfect. I can answer both those questions very quickly. Number one, yes, we have a monitoring program. Anybody who goes out on a job site is expected to get paid for that job. Anywhere you put a shovel in the ground here in South Lake County, you're going to dig up an arrowhead, beads, pestles. Some of you guys in this room probably have them sitting around your house. You know what I mean? As decoration, you know, it looks a half bowl or a pestle. those are our ancestral artifacts. So when they pop up out of the ground, we need to be there, because the way to explain it to this crowd would be, it would be if we went and ran a plow over through the cemetery over there and the stuff popped up and people just took it home with them. And that's really what it is. So our monitoring program, yes, we do get paid. We've been part of the cleanup process here for the Valley Fire. We've contracted with Pacific States, Cal Recycle, Tetra Tech, because our ancestral properties are not ours anymore. They've all been given out to everybody else. The only people to protect those properties the way they should be is us. If you come up across clamshells or beads, that means somebody was buried there. That was a gravesite. And so that's why it's very important when we do projects like this, anytime someone's tilling ground or having other opportunities to do a project, that we would like to be on site. We're not trying to stop anything, but we're trying to let you know, hey, you know, this is a sensitive area. If you could relocate your line 3 feet over, or we could pull something up and rebury it on the property, that's what we're looking to do. We haven't stopped any projects. I've worked with the county. I've been in meetings with supervisors, Cal Recycle on this recovery thing, and that's important for us. It's the most important thing, because we're the only ones to protect our heritage and our ancestral sites. And so yes, we have a monitoring program, and our monitors get paid just like anybody else who goes out on a job site and does monitoring, whether it's, you know, the inspector, whether it's the archaeologists who get paid for this. And they're paying archaeologists outrageous amounts to go out and say whether or not there's something there. Archaeologists don't know where our tribal lands are. You know, it's absolutely ludicrous. And so that's a yes, we do that. But we're not out there to stop projects. We're out there to help people, because there is CEQA law. You go do a project, you dig up the wrong thing, you got to stop anyway. And if you don't report it, you got a big problem going forward with your project. The second part of that question is conflict of interest. I would recuse myself just like anybody else does on the Board of Supervisors. I have a job. I'm the Middletown Rancheria Tribal Chairman. As far as anything coming up with the tribe in front of the Board of Supervisors, there was a conflict of interest. I would recuse myself. If I am the supervisor, I would not be the one bringing it. We have a 5-member council board on the Middletown Rancheria. I have a vice chair. In my absence, she does all the enactments. She can sign documents, negotiate agreements, all those things. And that's exactly what will happen. As far as the Middletown Rancheria, I can tell you, I've been the chairman for 20 years. I've gone in front of the Board of Supervisors where I've needed a vote for something, I think on 3 issues. Sewer contract, which we negotiated, helped, worked very good with Ed Roby on that. The other one I think was the turn lane, you know, that we had gotten done. And then we also we've done some work with the local water board here and some other issues, but those are about the 3 that I can remember going in front of the board and getting a vote on. That's over 20 years. And coming up in the future, we don't see a lot of projects where we've got to go back and negotiate any agreements with the county, even if we want to expand on some projects. So that's where, does that answer your questions?
Yeah,
and I don't know how Monica's going to answer that.
Another question was directed. Well,
Yes, another question for you. Is there a time limit on answers, or can I just go on for a while?
I've been letting you guys do, because we want to hear what you have to say.
Okay, all right.
You make it as
All right.
long or short as you want.
All right, thank you.
Midnight's around the corner.
Super. One of the things, again, I've served as a planning commissioner, and in working through projects, I mean, yes, we've had, you know, we've seen projects come forward, and that various different agencies are notified on the various different projects, and of course the Native American tribes are notified as well, depending on the location of the various different projects. I am aware also of the memorandum that was signed by 4 tribes here in the Lake County area, and again, as supervisor, will represent District 1, but we'll also represent all of Lake County. And again, these projects, as Moke Simon was talking about, you know, with the fire recovery, we have the same thing up with the Clayton Fire in the Lower Lake, and that involves more the Khoi Nation. But there is this memorandum that's been signed by 4 tribes within the county that the Rancheria has and I'm unaware of the reason why they've not decided to participate, but the other tribes all are part of this memorandum of agreement, and I applaud that collaborative effort in working together to, basically preserve and protect the Native American treasures and artifacts, as well as protecting our environment. So I think all of that's very important, and I support that. Recusing myself, I don't think I'd have to recuse myself in that area, but I guess I'll take that conversation to the to Vineyard. To vineyards, and basically recusing yourself is when there is a issue that's involved and there's some economic impact or advantage or perceived, and so I would do the same thing and recuse myself as necessary.
That answered my question.
Can I give a little rebuttal on that though, so I can explain something she said?
Next question, man. Go ahead.
I don't get that. She made a statement that's incorrect. If I can fix it, that would be great.
You can ask your question.
Okay. My name is Julie Crease. I'm going to sit down now. I have myself and many people I know really love Lake County because of the natural beauty that is here. Our rolling oak woodlands and our ponderosa pines and our beautiful lake. And we're not far from San Francisco, and there are a lot of people who like to get away from the city. And they'd like to come up here and ride bikes and go hiking and stay at places that are nestled.
Get to the birds.
The question is, there is a very big push for vineyards, as if this is the saving grace of the county. I'd like to know if either of you have an interest in pushing with the same amount of energy the natural beauty of our county and ways to make it possible for the promotion of this to have that become a way for us to bring people into our county.
Yes, indeed, tourism.
And
Outdoor tourism. I mean, Mount Canocti. Hiking to the top of Mount Canocti. I've actually ridden in the Canocti Challenge, not this past year, just a couple weeks ago. But I've ridden in the Canocti Challenge for the past 4 or 5 years, and that's a wonderful ride, especially the 65-mile going around the lake. So unfortunately, this year they were able to bring back the ride up and over Cobb. That is an excellent way, and the number of people that they bring in for that ride, over 50% are from out of county, so that come here, and what a wonderful way to see the county. I remember somebody had said to me once that because somebody else running for office had said that they wanted to come here and walk the area. And somebody walked out of the room and walk the area. What the heck? What the heck? He's just going to come here and hike. But the reality is that you can see so much of the beauty at a slower pace. I mean, when you're on a bike, when you're on your feet. So, I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. So to answer your question, as far as, yes, as you know, I grow grapes. I said that earlier. I've been growing grapes here. I've just realized at this last harvest that my vines are 25 years old now. And then we have some older vines on the property. We have some Zinfandel that was planted in 1937. And it makes a wonderful Zinfandel wine that Hardester sells. But
$14 a bottle.
No, it's 20 something.
I'm going to get it right now.
It's over your budget. So, but the vineyards is all part of it's part of the package. As I said in my opening with the tourism, it's a variety of different things, because you need to bring in and serve a variety of different people. With the vineyards can't exist as far as with tourism and bring in the wine industry without good food and the arts. I mean, it just all blends very nicely together. Cyclists, that's what they enjoy doing. I mean, they work hard. They're riding 65 miles, 100 miles, climbing up Cobb, and I've done that before. You get awfully hungry. So you need some place to eat, and you need some good places to eat. So, we need a combination of things that attracts a variety of people. And I hear what you're saying as far as it's those nooks and crannies. Again, backyard oasis. Every time I talk to Greta, she says her business is rocking. It's doing really well. I actually, because I've heard so many times with the dilapidated resorts that we have around the lake, I find them charming. So, and I find we can actually do, with a little bit of work and a little bit of effort, and some of them are really located in some really fabulous places. I look at, because I lived up on Cobb for a little while, it was Whispering Pines up there. They had, and this is where I was like totally surprised, because I started living there, and I kept talking to the Stricklers up on Cobb, and they said every single year they're booked, from Memorial Day weekend through, Labor Day weekend when everybody returns to school. They're solidly booked. They have the same people coming back and families, and they have a party there basically all summer long because these people are they're just returned. The first time I went into their cabins, I was just appalled because it was linoleum on the floor that was pulled back, and it was really, really very, very rustic. And the deal is, in this particular case, it was because these families would come and the children just come and play, because most of the families are from cities where they can't get out and play. They can't get out and have a good time. And they have to worry about being clean, going back into their houses. Here they could just come and just be and get dirty and come into the house wet, from swimming in the pool, and it was all okay. So anyway, so I think we have a lot of treasures here, and we just need to, actually, as Moke said, we need to work at promoting it better. We are doing some promotion. I think there's been a really good campaign in the Press Democrat and the San Francisco Chronicle. A number of businesses throughout the county spent, I think it was like close to $30,000 in the insert of businesses coming together all throughout, including Twin Pine Casino, but throughout the entire county to develop this insert that was in the San Francisco Chronicle that actually resulted in business coming here. So yes, I think we have to preserve and protect and keep things in balance. Thank you.
To answer your question, absolutely, we need to encourage that. We have a beautiful area. I've said this from the beginning of my campaign. I've been lucky enough in my football career to travel the world, be some very exotic places, overseas and other things, to see some beautiful areas. But this place is absolutely beautiful. This valley we live in, the mountains we have, and the outdoors. And we really need to push that. Not only do I talk about pushing it, but I know one of the projects that's going to be putting together here pretty soon in coordination with the tribe and the Middletown Area Town Hall is creating a trail that leads from the casino down to the park so people can ride their horses, they can walk, and make it a nice ambiance so we connect everything together. That's one project. Another big project which we're trying to work on right now, which I hope we get, is the Loran Station property that's out there. We would like to be able to get that. The county has recused, backed away from that and said they don't want it anymore. We're hoping the tribe can get it. That is something that we had talked about doing, making some trails, keeping it a natural place out there. That's over 700 acres. Those are opportunities here in the county that can be done. We currently, as a business, both the Mount St. Helena Brewery and the Twin Pine Casino, every year we have 3 or 4 large mountain biking groups, both from, we have a Christian school that comes through, bring about 150 bikers that goes up to Cobb Mountain Boggs Forest every year. They need to do it this year. I think they moved it somewhere, but they did come to the county. They still came to the county and did that. And these are recurring groups that keep coming through. And those are opportunities we just need to build on at the county as a whole. Mount Canocti, we were approached and we worked with those guys on the trails to come up with some of the tribal stories as you walk along, to work with those types of things, to explain to people what they're walking through. We've also, it's a private course right now, but even out on Langtree Golf Course, which hopefully they'll get it together one of these days and maybe open to the public. But, on their course, we've done some of our stories because there were over 6 sites on that property. So I think there's some unique opportunities here in the county that we need to just keep building on our outdoor, just the beautiful ambiance that we have when we're here in the area. And I agree, they do need to come when it's a little bit cooler because it does get warm. But absolutely, I support that. And then I do just want to talk about the ordinance that Monica brought up about something that was passed up at the Board of Supervisors that 4 tribes signed on to. Middletown Rancheria did not have to sign on to that ordinance because what I did as a tribal leader with my tribe is it's called Tribal Historic Preservation Office. There's a grant out there, and if you're a tribe and you have your act together, you can go and you can get a service contract directly with the United States government, U.S. Forest Service. And what that means is people who are doing projects in the state of California no longer have to go to SHPO, State Historic Preservation Office, or over to Sonoma State to connect our information. We are doing our own mapping, our own GPSing. You come to Middletown Rancheria if you dig in our area. And just to let you know, we are the lead tribe on the recovery at the Clayton fire. We're working that contract out right now with Tetra Tech, even though we have some neighboring tribes up there. What we did is now we are hazmat trained, we're able to clean up, and we will be up there protecting those priorities, not only for ourselves, but the other 2 tribes that have interest in that area. And we are the lead tribe. They came to us. And that is because of leadership that we have at the Middletown Rancheria and the way that you approach people and you work with them throughout big projects. So I just wanted to answer that and explain why we're not part of that memorandum.
Yes, it's time.
Last question. We've got one last question here.
I thought you wanted to hear from us.
Go ahead, ask your question.
I have 2 questions.
Okay.
Can I ask 2 questions?
I have one.
Okay. In light of everything that's been said, especially what the young lady said and what you've been addressing, how do you feel about restoring and protecting our land? We know the direction things are going with climate. We can no longer deny it. We're in a drought that may not change anytime in the future. We're surrounded by dry trees, potential fire, and what I am asking is, are you willing to look at the big picture in regards to this and address what we can do to protect our surroundings in terms of perhaps bringing organic agriculture, less toxic chemicals into the area, protect our water, groundwater from toxic pesticide use? And
the question is, we follow the
environmental, and how do you feel about bringing fire-resistant housing into the area and bringing funding possibly from the federal government into this area where there are funds available for eco and green building and industry?
Mo, do you want to
Go ahead, Mo.
Boy.
You're vineyard.
Yeah, whoa. It's a long one.
There's several questions in there, but it comes to the same idea.
Basically, how can we repair the area? Are you willing to take a big picture look at it and make a huge shift?
I think one of the opening questions for me was, do we have monitors and are we cared about not only our tribal area, but this entire community? And that's an absolute yes. As far as a tribal leader, I have EPA contract with the Environmental Protection Agency. So not only do I test the water that comes through our creek for us, I test it for everybody in the basin, test for mercury, other opportunities. And there's a lot of mercury in our water. There's no doubt about it. There's over like 42 mines directly behind us here that goes right through our aquifer, right down through our creeks. So we are absolutely, as a tribal leader, I've done EPA grants. I brought in federal grants on the tribal side where we could do the water testing, where we could do some of the tree replanting and other opportunities that we're doing. We're currently working with Army Corps of Engineers on the project right at the base of the Cache Creek Restoration Program that we're working on with the state parks also for the Middletown Rancheria. We have protected this community in one of our ways was back about 15 years ago. There was a vineyard that started a project here in the county. Snows Lake was the name of it. I think they went in and got a permit to grade about 400 acres. They ended up clearing about 1,250 acres. They destroyed vernal pools and other opportunities. What we did as a tribe was we acted on behalf of the community. We were approached by the community, and what we did, I'll say it, we sued the county under their own rules, but those things were not supposed to be done. What we did was we made them restore the vernal pool. We still have access to that vineyard, even though it's sold 2 times, where we could gather our native plants for making basketry or anything else that we want for our ceremonial gatherings. So when you're asking me about environment, I'm just about as invested in this environment as anybody else or any other, we call them a tree hugger or anything else like that. This is not only a place that I've been in my 40 years, but we've been here for thousands of years attempting to protect this natural environment. And it is a hard job to do because we don't own all the lands that are being developed or put into vineyards or housing or whatever else. But we're trying to really, make sure we have a footing to have a say. And if it needs to be stood up and said, we will stand up and say it. And I've done that myself in the community. When projects are coming on board, we make sure that we're at the pre-meetings. We make sure that we go out and do the site visits that we're asked to do. And we do those things. Are we trying to put a stop to everything? No. But if something's going to go wrong, we'll be one of the ones that stand up and say, hey, this isn't right, and we need to step forward on that. And that's the same exact attitude that I will bring as a District 1 supervisor. As you can tell, I'm not a small guy. And I let it be known, if I think passionately about something, I won't let it go. I'll make sure that I get everything behind me, and we make sure that we make the right decision for everybody. And that's some green revenue. I think the green revenue's coming in November. We need to be ready for it, and it needs to be natural. So that'll be my thoughts.
So is this our last question?
No.
One more.
Something besides the marijuana group.
All right. So while Moak's been working here in Middletown with the tribe, I have been, in my last 20 years here, I have been working throughout the county in a number of different organizations and entities. I am a member of the Land Trust, and we've been working at preserving various different areas throughout Lake County through our efforts with the Land Trust. I also, my business is within the wine industry. As I said, I grow grapes. I also have a small wine brand. I have been involved with the wine grape industry. The Wine Grape Commission is a marketing order that was started here over 20 years ago. We're celebrating 25 years at the end of the month. With that, actually about 20 years ago, they put into effect the Sustainable Farming Workbook. And that workbook, over the course of, we're still using it today, but over the course of time has grown and changed and added chapters. And what that goes through is it's a work in progress where each farmer takes a look at all the activities that they do in the farm from outside, actually farming and getting our hands dirty in the dirt, as well as with employees, within the winery, if a facility has a winery itself, but it's social, economic, so it looks at all of those aspects and seeks to improve and enhance the performance of the Lake County wine industry. Actually, this goes beyond that, but various different other counties have different programs. Napa has their own. Lodi has a sustainable farming program as well. But anyway, that's something that we've been working on for years and continue to work and improve. So then we also have the certified program. We've, again, through the wine industry, sought out many different grants for those people who would like to go organic or biodynamic or sustainable farming. Just in all of those practices, there are various different grants. We have several people here that are certified, what do they call them? But basically, they're the folks who will come out. You work towards certifying your vineyard or your farming production in a sustainable manner, and then they'll come out and you go through a checklist process to get that sustainable farming certificate. So many of the farmers are actively involved in that right now in Lake County. That booklet I was talking about, the workbook, is actually about 85% of the grape farmers here in Lake County participate in that workbook. So then beyond that, I forget what the
green revenue. Can you imagine bringing green revenue, some green business into this area?
Well, again, as was stated earlier, if that's what the voters vote in, then I definitely would work with that. I've been working with...
She means ecological. She means ecological green. Eco green.
Oh,
Eco green.
building.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. No, when I say green, I'm not talking about pot necessarily. I'm
Okay.
talking about bringing sustainable green. The federal government has funds. to-
Exactly, it has many funds. Has many funds. So yeah, so we have the solar. So
Exactly.
again,
And beyond.
and that's all part of, you know, I know within the vineyards, that's all part of the program. I myself farm, I have, everything that I have is solar powered. So green building, yes, as we rebuild and we recover from the fire, we need to rebuild better and safer. We definitely need to work on that as far as I'm looking at our roads, our egress and our ingress, the materials that we use in our homes. Most definitely, I mean, that's one of the things that the firefighters, I think, if you talk to them, will tell you. You know, that a lot of our structures, you know, go up like this because it's all synthetic. So that is something that we need to look at. And, you know, it's a tendency, you know, we kind of went that way because it's cheaper. So, but is it better? And especially if we live in rural America where we are prone to wildfires like this, we do need to think safer and smarter for us today, but also for our future, for our kids, for the future. So we have one more question?
Ms. Donaldson.
Yes, I have a question. And it's for Moak.
Okay. Do I get to answer?
Well, you can.
Okay.
I don't know that it's going to fit, though.
Okay, well, I'll make something up.
There's a lot of people in the community that have been asking and have concerns about, and I thought it'd be good for you to explain it because you've been apart for so long, what a sovereign nation is, and if there's any conflict that you see with being in a role of a district supervisor and also having a sovereign nation and explaining that to the public.
Well, I don't know how to explain it any clearer than there is no conflict. There is not a conflict. If there was, I wouldn't have been able to run for the position that I'm running for. You know, I've had our attorneys look at it. I don't go into anything with my eyes closed and just say I want it. You guys can tell what you guys see down here. I'm a good businessman. I understand opportunities, and I always check things out. That's what I do, and that's how you run. That's how you make your life easy. So in the beginning, you know, I know that conflict of interest. I said from the beginning, if there's any conflict of interest, I'd recuse myself just like any other supervisor would. And I've been at meetings where supervisors have had to recuse themselves. It keeps coming up because I'm the tribal chairman, and you're right. It is time that you elect a tribal person here in Lake County. It's never happened before. And I understand why there's a little concern and confusion, but there is not a conflict of interest.
Can you explain what a sovereign nation is?
A sovereign nation is a nation inside of a nation. We have the same rights as the state of California and any other state in this country. The only way that we give up our sovereignty is if we give it away. We can't be sued unless we say we're going to be allowed to sue, just like the state of California. We are a sovereign nation. We run our own government. We have our own constitution, our own enrollment, our own laws, our own ordinances, and that's what we do. We are an independent government here in the United States. We are written into the Constitution of the United States as sovereign nations, and that's what we are. And that's how we operate. We have a council, we have a general membership, we have 239 people that are in our tribe. They're spread out all over the country. And that's who I currently represent, and I want to represent you in the same manner here as the District 1 supervisor. So there is no conflict of interest, and if there was something that came up that was immediately connected to myself or the tribe, I would recuse myself. And I know that county council and everybody else would very clearly make sure that I understood, and I would make sure myself that I understood everything that there would be a potential issue with. And that's what I always do, protect myself to help protect others. And so hopefully that explains it.
It does.
You know, I explained we have a 5-member board. You know, we work very well together. I am saying a lot of I now because I have to as District 1 supervisor. But in Indian country, where I've been leading for the last 20 years, and the way I would do it here is it's we. I've been asked what my agenda is, District 1 supervisor. It ain't my agenda. It's our agenda as a community. And that's what I want to push forward. And that's what I've always done as a leader. here in our community, create jobs and opportunities. And you know, if there's all in time and I can have enough time, I do still want to keep coaching though if that question comes up. 'Cause I love Middletown Mustangs, man. So
I just wanted to make
Monica, go ahead.
I just
Hang on.
wanted, excuse me, I would like a chance to answer. I just wanted to make it clear that I knew what a sovereign nation was, but I thought it would be helpful for people to hear from you directly.
Okay, Ms. Monica,
Yes.
go ahead.
Okay, conflict of interest, and I know, you know, part of this is because this is all new, because we haven't had a tribal council member run for supervisor, and not to say that that shouldn't happen, but we don't have any rules or guidelines around it like we do within the school board. If you're a school board member and you're running for supervisor, right, Jim Comstock, then you have to vacate your position on the school board. So there are that's, you know, kind of where, because certain things within the city and county governments that the supervisor seat is operating within, there are conflicts and positions where you can't hold that dual position. So the other thing, and the question didn't come up yet, and I'm going to address it because this here is, in my mind, and I don't want to whine, but I'm running a grassroots campaign. So, and my background and experience here is basically I've been involved in a wide variety of things. I am involved in the wine industry, but I've also been involved, I've served as your District 1 Planning Commissioner. I have served as your representative on the Farm Bureau. I serve as a director with the Middletown Area Merchants Association. I have, as I said, I'm a member of the Land Trust. I've worked on the Save the Lake campaign. I've worked on the marijuana campaigns over the last 4 to 5 years. I've been actively involved in a number of different areas. If you look at, which is all public record, my endorsements, which are many, both from county, state, and federal officials, as well as local residents here, are wide and varied. If you look at my financial reports and information, you will also find the same thing. If you look at my opponents, you're going to find something different, and you're going to find a big chunk of money coming from the entity that he represents. And so with that, that's, you know, again, I feel like I have the training and the experience and the outreach on a local level as well as a county level in representing, better able to represent the community as a whole and be a better, more fair representative for a variety of different groups and organizations and people. And I would be honored to have your vote on November 8th. And I hope everybody gets out and votes because we've got a lot of issues, as well as our assembly member that we need to vote for. And thank you very much for your time. So a vote on
November 28th.
Yes. I see there's more questions.
No.
What we're going to do is we're going to stop now. All 4 of the candidates for the seats are available. They're still here. Well, you can talk to them individually afterwards, okay?
I don't think we need to make another closing statement. She just made hers. Why don't you let
Mo, you got any closing statement real quick?
Well, of course, Mo got to finish last time.
Say again?
Well,
Finished last time.
I just want to talk about fundraising because I will tell you, you know, my tribe did invest in my campaign. Now they did not. They're not the only ones, and I will tell you, I raised less money than Monica in both campaigns times right now. Talk about grassroots campaign. That's what I'm running. I've worked with these people. I've grown up with them. I've been here my entire life. Couldn't get more grassroots than what I'm doing, going out and talking with the people. I will tell you, when I started this campaign, in my campaign, folks, what I said was, I'm not going to go to a community that has just been devastated by a fire and expect to get money from those individuals to put me in a place to help them. And so when I went there, I have 20 years experience in the gaming industry across Indian country, 566 nations. I'm a respected individual. Last year I won the humanitarian of the Wendell Chino Humanitarian Award of the Year. That's like winning the Super Bowl from my thoughts in Indian country. It's a huge accomplishment from the NIGA Association. And so when I said I was running for office, there were people that stepped up from outside of the state and outside the country, said, Moak, we will support you. We know what kind of leader you've been in Indian country, and we know you will help not only your community that you're surrounding, but it's good for the country. And that's, you know, I take pride in that. There are a few people here in the county that have, you know, in town that have given money, small amounts and a little bit here and there. But one thing that my money is not coming from is from an industry that has most of this county, agricultural. I didn't get any money from agricultural. I got money from tribal nations that have no vested interest in this county. People gave me money from across the country because they know that I'm a good leader. And they know that I will do everything I can to improve this community. So my money has no interest in this county. There are not going to be a casino on every doorstep or around every block. There could be a vineyard around every corner if it's let to be done that. And absolutely, agriculture, this whole South Valley is all agricultural. It's all done that way.
All right.
It's all done that way. You understand? And that's what could be. And so I just want to let you know that's where mine comes from. And mine is published. You can look at
And
it.
it would be fair, and I would finish right.
As far as, you know, on November 8th, I want people to come out and vote. I want you to vote with your heart who you think is going to be the best for this community. I've said it from the beginning. There were 4 candidates, and I thought they were quality candidates. There's 2 left now. I started running in January of last year, and I'm still standing right now. Only 8 votes behind. And I plan on being ahead on November 8th. So when you go out and vote, November 8th, vote for Moak. And that'll be a good opportunity for this entire community.
Okay,
All right,
yes,
all
we're
right.
bringing it back.
Wonderful people. All right.
Bring it back to the board. Since that's done, we only have one item, and that's agenda for next month. This is important. Now listen up. We got a notice from Caltrans that they want to come and present to the community the drawings and their ideas on the expansion of Highway 175 from Dry Creek Bridge to Poudre Creek Bridge. They're going to widen it or do something to it. But I think it's important that we give them the time. And if you know anybody that lives on 175, be sure and alert them. I'll get a flyer out to everyone that I can out there. But that's an important issue. That's going to tie up 175 for a long period of time. And if we have any input, if we have any thoughts about it, if you live out there, get your thoughts together, what you might want to see, what you don't want to see. And we'll cover that next month at the regular math meeting. That's the agenda item. Yes, Joe?
On that, though, am I right in saying that Caltrans project has been in the works for a long time? Because I know the water board and all that in Anderson Springs has been very involved with that. I mean, I think we should all be here, but it's not really a new project.
Well, it's new that they have a drawing they want to talk to us about.
They think they have a plan.
I'll tell you something. It all started about 5 years ago at math, when we got Caltrans down here. You remember, Joe, we got Caltrans down here, and we were complaining that there was no shoulder on the road so the kids could ride their horses out to the equestrian park. And they said, oh, there isn't. I said, no, there isn't. There's no way to get them out there. We'd like to have an equestrian crosswalk. And that led to this project. It's been 5 years. You're right, John, it's been 5 years. It's new in that we're going to have a drawing and we're going to be able to find out what they plan to do. And if we don't like it, we can let them know. We can punt or something, okay? Who is that, Mike?
Yes.
You have a question regarding that?
No, I have an agenda item.
Okay, then I'm going to just a minute. I'm going to close that for that agenda item and ask everyone, as I always do, does anyone have agenda items for next month?
Mike does.
Okay, because
You have 2 more meetings left this year, and you want to start thinking about getting a call for nominations for the math board. It'll probably be done November and December, or just December, just however you want to do it.
okay, let me talk to Caltrans and see how much time. They usually come with all kinds of drawings and stuff, so we may not have time for anything but that. I'll talk to them. But if we have time, we'll put that on, Mike, okay?
Right.
Yes, sir.
A kind of speaking to you because you seem to be the one who knows it. A couple of months ago, we talked about the redrawing of the map because District 2 is, we're basically, the map is set on the fire lines, not on the city lines, and then Cobb is going to go its own way. Are you still going to put that on agenda, or are we just going to just leave it off? Because we never got to that point.
Yes.
I spoke with the Cobb map, and they would like to have us separated from them. So as we discussed, Socrates Mine Road is generally the cutoff between the district and all. So we haven't officially talked about that as a group because we've been so busy with other things that have been here. But that is something that, and if you would like, I can get it in writing.
I can tell you this, that I talked to the guy up at Cobb, and they said, we want to open a bank account. I said, we don't want anything to do with money or bank accounts of any kind. So if they're going to have a bank account, they're not going to be affiliated with us. Because I'm just not going to have to listen to that kind of stuff. We don't touch money, ever.
But we can collaborate if there's something that affects both. We could have joint meetings and those kinds of things.
If they're willing.
Issues, yeah. But we're separated from them.
Okay, so that's just a done deal.
Separate.
Yeah, we're separate.
Our boundaries will stay the same. They can do whatever they want.
Oh, no, our boundaries can't stay the same.
Yes, they will. It's already in the bylaw.
It's already in the bylaw.
They have their boundaries.
I don't care what they have. You guys want us to leave you with us? Yes. You have an agenda item?
It's just that they don't want to be a part of it. I can't do
Last one we gotta do.
I do too.
But one thing is
Yeah,
that with
lunch
this
is the last
175 thing, that's an opportunity for collaboration because that's going to affect them. That's going to affect them big time.
Okay. We'll put it on the agenda and they get the agenda.
But well, we should encourage them to come down.
Yeah, absolutely. We encourage them all the time.
I mean, as their entity.
Yeah.
We always encourage them. They just never come.
I mean, as their entity.
Okay, anything else? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
There's one in the back. One in the back.
What?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it possible to get put on the agenda a report on Bottle Rock Power Plant, which is supposed to be closed down?
Not next month.
Borrowing monies, and just to find out where they stand, what's going on?
Wait a minute.
Okay, so the question was, hang on, can we put on the agenda concerns about Bottle Rock Power?
Concerns about Bottle Rock Power Plant, if they're still operating or not, and if they've met their criteria in terms of environmental and monetary.
Have you talked to Board of Supervisors?
All the time.
I can safely tell you they're shut down. I can safely tell you that.
You have an agenda item?
You know, I missed the public comment. I just want to say that we're having a MUSD candidates forum at the MAC on Monday at 5:30 p.m.
Okay, meeting adjourned.
Thank God.